Britain's Prime Minister has offered opponents a major concession in her latest attempt to get Parliament to agree to her Brexit withdrawal deal. Theresa May said that she will allow lawmakers to vote on whether to hold a second national referendum on leaving the EU. This comes 2 months after Britain's scheduled departure from the bloc.
I've also listened carefully to those who've been arguing for a second referendum. I've made my own view on this clear on many times. I do not believe this is a route that we should take, because I think we should be implementing the result of the first referendum, not asking the British people to vote in a second one. But I recognise the genuine and sincere strength of feeling across the House on this important issue. The government will therefore include in the withdrawal agreement bill, at introduction, a requirement to vote on whether to hold a second referendum. And this must take place before the withdrawal agreement can be ratified.
So that was Theresa May there. Well, now I'm joined by European Affairs blogger and anti-Brexit activist John Worth. John, you've been covering this story for so long. This story just doesn't go away. Theresa May is back at it again, trying to get her deal approved for a fourth time. She's now telling lawmakers in the UK that if they will back her deal, she'll give them a chance to put it to another referendum. Do you think that is going to work? Are they going to go for it?
They're not really keen on that idea at the moment, members of Parliament. The reactions to Theresa May's speech yesterday were very negative. They see that to a certain extent as a trap, in that you'd have to have the government backing such a second vote, and Theresa May hasn't committed her Conservative Party to doing that at all. So this hasn't won over much of the opposition yet. We've already seen that the numbers of members of Parliament supporting a referendum is steadily growing, but we've not got there yet to have a majority of members of Parliament that will be in favour of a second vote. So I'm not holding my breath that would happen, or indeed I'm not holding my breath that this effort will be a success at all. As it looks at the moment, she will be facing another defeat now in 2 weeks when this comes to a vote.
Now, May is also trying to soften up resistance to her deal by offering reassurances on the so-called backstop concerning the border with Northern Ireland. Let's hear exactly what she had to say on that subject.
So as part of the new Brexit deal, we will place the government under a legal obligation to seek to conclude alternative arrangements by December 2020, so that we can avoid any need for the backstop coming into force. I've also listened to unionist concerns about the backstop, so the new Brexit deal goes further to address these. It will commit that, should the backstop come into force, the government will ensure that Great Britain will stay aligned with Northern Ireland.
Sounds like a backstop to the backstop to me. What do you make of it, John? Is it much of a deal sweetener?
I don't think so, because these alternative arrangements that Theresa May speaks of, we don't know what they are or how they would potentially work. The Conservative Party likes this idea of alternative arrangements, but that's essentially a magic thinking. It's not actually practically workable. The EU ultimately is the highest priority throughout the Brexit negotiations for the EU was making sure the Northern Ireland border would stay open, and the British government still doesn't have a way of making sure that is compatible with its Brexit plans. So ultimately on this one too, nice words from Theresa May, but that's not going to work out either.
If May fails to get this deal through in 2 weeks' time, you say that's unlikely. Most analysts are saying the same. What's next for the UK and Brexit?
Well, it looks like Theresa May will probably have to go as Conservative Party leader, because until a couple of months ago, the Conservatives were riding high in the opinion polls despite the Brexit problems. It looks like it's going to be a catastrophic European election for May's Conservatives this Thursday in the UK, and that might finally mean she's going to have to go as Conservative Party leader. She'll probably then be replaced by a Brexit hardliner, and as a result, then that might be the first domino that knocks over a number of other dominoes, leading the UK perhaps towards a new general election. So finally, we might be getting to a stage where something might actually change, rather than just keeping on repeating the same old thing, which is what Theresa May has been doing until now.
This is a rather bizarre situation. I mean, happening on the eve of European elections, and which Britons are obliged to vote in because Parliament can't decide on whether or not to actually leave the EU or not. It must be strange.
Exactly, but bear in mind that this is not like the referendum in the UK where you had a pro and a contra. You've basically got 4 blocks in Parliament. You've got the hardcore people that want out now. You've got around 200 around Theresa May that want what Theresa May wants. The Labour Party says it's committed to Brexit, but it wants a different form. And then you've got the Remainers. And so therefore, among these 4 different groups in Parliament, you simply can't make a majority. And it's really strange because the British like to think of their Parliament as strong and decisive, but it's the very opposite of strong and decisive just now. But until you remove May, I don't see that there's any way forward of managing to get a majority for anything. And until there's some kind of majority for something in Parliament, we're not going to make any forward progress.
No forward progress. John Worth, thank you very much for being with us again. The blogger and anti-Brexit activist, John Worth.
Thank you.